Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I accept things the way they are. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. I love wasting. I love wasting. I can breathe. I reap abundantly. I already have everything I need. Wonderful is happening to me right now. Don't you feel it? Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Oh yeah, I accept things the way they are. I will. I accept things the way they are not. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Good morning. Welcome to the center. Would you like a program? Sharon's at the other door. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you.
Let's just get still. And let's just give our bodies permission to just relax. And so we turn away from the world around us for a moment of stillness, a moment of tranquility. Take time to pause. Take a deep breath now. And feel your body begin to relax. And just now breathe out any tension. And breathe in serenity of spirit. Take another easy breath. And allow my words to be the words of your own heart. Today, I'm blessed with the gifts of spirit. I'm a spiritual being living the human life, blessed by spirit in the most miraculous ways. The peace of spirit fills my heart and mind. I am immersed in the comfort of God's love. Today, I am blessed with the gifts of life. My mind and body are whole and well. I am restored to full vitality. My body is a temple that easily and gracefully moves me through my life. And today, Spirit guides my life and leads me to my highest good. God's loving guidance is always with me, uplifting and encouraging me as I move forward on my life's journey. And so right now, as we just move into the silence, take these words with you. All things are working together to bless me. Now take a deep breath. And as you come back into the sanctuary, and you leave this time of stillness, remember that you are blessed, and silently say to yourself, I am a blessing to myself and others. And then just smile. Namaste. I invite you to take a deep breath and gently close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. And let my words become your words as I speak in the present first tense. I know that there is only one divine, loving presence, one infinite intelligence, one creative source, life energy, and I call this energy God. When I let my ego take the back seat and know in my heart that my heart is the one that paves the way to become that expression of God's Spirit, then I am one with that precious Spirit. I am God's Word. I am God's thoughts. I am God's actions. And I know in my heart that as long as I keep this in the foreground, knowing that there is no sense of unworthiness, there is no I'm not good enough, I am all that God meant me to be and more, as I know and I attune myself to this truth, this divine principle. I know that I am connected to each and every one here and everyone in the world. There is no black or white. There is no male, female. I am one. One. There is only one. 1 + 1 = 1. And I am one with the power and the presence. This day unfolding is bringing miraculous thoughts and ideas and actions that I am taking such full advantage of and watching miracles unfold in this beautiful process. Knowing that this is what I am here for, I simply say, use me, use me. And I am open and aware and awake to how God uses me in every moment. I am so grateful to know this and to know because we are one. I am so thankful for all the volunteers that give up their time and make this center so beautiful and so enriched. And I give thanks for all the paid people that are here, the people that get paid to do exactly what God uses them to do. And I give thanks for everyone who volunteers a smile, a handshake, a hug, a kiss, a word of encouragement. Because here again, we are all one. And I am so very grateful to have this feeling of love just permeating my whole being. So I now release my word into the kingdom and the power and the glory of the divine creative law, knowing that I declare this to be fulfilled. And so we say together, and it is so. So it is. Amen.
Okay, the title of my talk today is Dealing with Conditions. And we teach in the Science of Mind that there is a power for good in the universe and you can use it. And we consciously use it when we do spiritual mind treatment. And we expect that as a result of our treatment, that our beliefs are changed. And because the law of cause and effect uses our beliefs to change, to control the conditions of our life, because of treatment, because our beliefs have changed, we expect the conditions in our world to change. And today I'd like to focus our attention on that condition, that effect that we call our physical bodies. Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is our founder, he authored the Science of Mind textbook, and he tells us in this lovely, powerful book, Love and Law, he says this on page 49. You are dealing only with thought. Thought, nothing else. Thought and spirit. And then he goes on to elaborate on page 45, and he says this. It depends then upon what we think, as that shall become what we experience. And the sooner individuals who are seeking to operate this principle, as soon as they realize that it all depends upon what they think and depends upon nothing else, the sooner they learn to depend on nothing else, the sooner they will just demonstrate that principle. And then lastly, he caps this all off on page 59, and he says this. Since all is mind, and the only activity of mind is thought, and the only thing you get out of mind is what you first think into it, what you think of is of greatest importance. How you think it, the bigness with which you think it. If you could only conceive a very small thing, that is all you will physically get. Here we realize that we are not dealing with anything that is physical. There is no physical explanation for anything on earth or anything else, and there never will be. All manifestation is backed up by a definite idea. Every idea is a thought in your life and mind, and everything that happens to us is backed up by some mental attitude. Therefore, what you think is of greatest importance. I love this little book. So for the past almost 100 years, our teaching is filled with overwhelming evidence that the power of our thought can change the conditions in our world. And sometimes I think we lose sight of this. But most importantly, the power of our thought can change the conditions of our physical bodies. You know, for every single disease that has existed or exists, whether we label it curable or incurable, there has been at least one person who has been miraculously healed by the power of their prayer alone. Dr. Frederick Bales, he worked with Dr. Holmes at the Church of Religious Science in Los Angeles. And in a book called The Basic Principles of the Science of Mind, Dr. Bales describes his own story as it relates to the condition of his body. Because you see, he, shall I say, developed, shall I say, created, diabetes in his body in his 20s. Now, this was before our realization of insulin. So back in the day when you were diagnosed with diabetes, for lack of a better way of saying it, that was a death sentence. And Reverend Cheryl's going to love this next part, because he delved into the ideas that Judge Thomas Chord outlined in his book, The Edinburgh Lectures. And not only did he just read it and say, oh, that was a lovely book, he took the principles that Judge Chord taught and he applied them to his physical condition. And he made a complete recovery. It has been my experience, and I have given up body parts to prove it to all of you, which I'm no longer willing to do for you. I'm running out of parts. But I have come to believe, absolutely come to believe, that we can affect the physical condition of our bodies in a positive way or a negative way, depending on how we're thinking and depending on what our beliefs are. And so I'd like to talk to you about a true story in my own life that happened very recently, and I think it will illustrate this point. So it all started like this. There's a young woman that works for me. That is Lvcsl Peralta. She's an employee of mine at MV Energy. But the problem is, when I see Lvcsl, this is what I see. And she is just this happy and cheerful and energetic little puppy. And one day, she runs up to me and she says, "Ruff, ruff." You can't say no. I've already signed us up, and you're going to do it, and it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. I've signed you up to run with me on the Corporate Challenge 5K. Isn't this going to be fun? Now, the Corporate Challenge has blossomed into the largest amateur sporting event in Nevada. And this year, 20,000 employees from companies across Las Vegas are currently competing in 41 sporting events. And so the little happy puppy, and I said, no. I said, Lvcsl, I'm going to lean into this for you. Not only no, but hell no. Now, I don't know. I know you're joking. But I said, you need to undo this, okay? Because you need to make this stop. Well, the happy Lvcsl little puppy. Oh, you don't mean that. It's going to be so much fun. And guess what? Besides, it's too late to cancel. I was going to kick the little puppy. So to be honest, I was horrified. And what's really interesting about that is, I strive to eat well. I'm a vegetarian. And I go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. I lift weights. But I had not run outside for a long time. As a matter of fact, I hadn't run a lot in the last couple of years. And how and why, I'll tell you about in another sermon someday. Because right now, we need to figure out how we're going to run a 5K, okay? So, my first day of training, I go to Lvcsl. I go upstairs to the indoor track, and I'm informed that I have to run 20-some times around this track. Now listen, that track is just slightly smaller than a normal track and field track, like the ones you see at the high school. So this is not insignificant, people, okay? All right, so I'm like, okay, we can do this, we can do this. So I start walking, and people are running by me. And I'm walking, and then, a couple times I run a few steps, and I'm walking, and I'm running, and I'm like, oh my God. And finally, I get around once. And I thought, this is crazy. I can't even get around one time, let alone 20 times. And I thought to myself, how is this possible? How is this possible? I am not happy with this result. And I thought, how am I going to change this? And I remembered what Ernest Holmes said. You got to change your thinking. Everything begins with your thinking. So every night I went to the gym and I would do this run. Paco one day when I ran past him said, I can get you a walker. I said, you know what? I'm gonna make it look like an accident and they will never find me. I could not believe how hard this was for me. And I became very discouraged because I've always been pretty physically active. And so I took this condition and brought it into my morning, daily spiritual practice. I did what Reverend Cheryl said. Pray about it. I thought, okay, I don't want her to know she's right, but I prayed about it. And I prayed for guidance, and I prayed for direction and motivation. And what the infinite divine mind brought to me was fantastic. And so I want to share this with you. The first thing that the God of my being brought to me was this quote: you will never see it until you see it. You will never see it until you can see it. In other words, until you can see it here, it will never happen out here. All things are the direct result of thought. And then I was led to this magnificent part of the Science of Mind textbook, and I'd like to read this for you. Page 281. The law is infinite and perfect, but in order to make a demonstration, we must have a mental equivalent of the thing we desire. A demonstration, like anything else in the objective life, is born out of a mental concept. The mind is the fashioning factor, and according to its range and vision and positiveness, will the circumstance or experience appear. If a man believes himself to be a failure and that it is useless for him to try to be anything else, he carries with him the mental equivalent of failure. Now this is interesting. So he succeeds in being a failure according to law. This is his demonstration. Having a strong picture or a mental concept and holding to that equivalent, regardless of circumstances and conditions, we must sooner or later manifest according to that concept. And that was it. I needed a vision. I needed a mental equivalent of me being a powerful and strong runner. I needed to see or have the vision of myself finishing that race. So I began my visualization work. And I saw myself running around that track and counting the laps. And then I saw myself running that race. And I saw myself crossing that finish line. And one of the most important things I visualized were seeing my strong, powerful legs propelling me forward. I remember one day I was at the gym, I was sitting on this bench along the track, and one of the gentlemen that's generally running, when I'm running, he walks up to me and he says, and I have my eyes closed, and I'm visualizing, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, you okay?" He said, "What are you doing down there?" And I said, "I am running my best race ever." And he said, "Do you mind if I have whatever you're drinking?" But guess what? I began to run stronger and longer and more laps. And yeah, there were times that I had setbacks. There was a time that I had an injury. There were times when I began to wonder if this was something that I could do. If this was something my physical body could achieve. And so I prayed about it. And God gave me 2 more gifts. And the first gift was this new quote. And it was this: "It is not the office of the body to dictate what the mind should do. It is the office of the mind to dictate what the body should do." It is the office of the mind to tell the body what to do. Remember, Reverend Dan, you control and direct and orchestrate the body of your affairs, and that includes your physical body. And then the second gift that God shared with me came at the most right and perfect time, and in the most right and perfect way. And here it is.
One meter for every year she's been alive. Chesapeake's own centenarian Ellen May Colbert wanted her name immortalized in the Guinness Book of World Records. And today, those officials were there as she made a dash. 7 News reporter Lvcsl Smith reports on the road to the record that was not easy.
Days after her 100th birthday, the cheers were loud for Ellen May Colbert's world record 100-meter dash attempt, but they went silent when she fell at her first try.
I think it started off too fast.
But it wasn't over yet.
Have something that get in your way, but you don't let it get you down.
Ellen May Colbert shattered the current 1 minute 17-second record, crossing the finish line in just 46 seconds. But she's no stranger to the track.
And I've been running from high school and I got a little bored.
That led the Chesapeake native to a career in education.
I always wanted to teach.
She says there's no secret to reaching her age.
I don't know what it is, except God's goodness.
She doesn't have a strict diet,
I eat everything.
but says her keep her busy.
Try to get it in every day that I can.
That determination, a lesson she tries passing on to the next generation.
I always look straight ahead.
A lesson she proved firsthand on the track in front of the same students she inspires.
I want you to do your best. So when you get my age, you'll be running too.
In Chesney, Lvcsl Smith, 7 News.
She's 100. Stay with us. 7 News at 6 starts right now.
Would you have gotten up if you'd have fallen down, he says. So I got up. I never gave up. And every day I did my visualization and my prayer work. And I coupled that with running and training. I never gave up. And I will never forget the day that I made it around the Lvcsl track 22 times without stopping. Maricela, the happy puppy, and I said, I still think you're stupid, and I think this 5K is stupid. And then later that week, I went outside and I ran my 5K outside. I was ready. So finally, the race day arrived. Saturday morning, April 8th, I arrived at the event at 7 a.m. There were hundreds of people. I was feeling so overwhelmed. And I desperately was looking for my teammates, which I found. And of course, Maricela, you know, the happy puppy, was there. And she goes, aren't you glad you're here? Aren't you? Isn't this fun? And I said, no, Maricela, this isn't fun. Going to a nightclub is fun. But I refrained. I did not kick the little puppy. And I got in line, and I got my official number 299. Hundreds of people there. And then they gave me this you attach to your shoelace, and it's a computerized tracking device. And they know how fast you're running, how long you're running, and when you cross the finish line, they can tell you exactly where you finished compared to everyone else in your age group. So then they herded us over to the starting area, and all of a sudden, it just got silent. Hundreds of people. The race was about to begin. Runners, on your mark, get set, go. And the race began. And what I thought was going to be a physical race, what I thought was going to be a physical challenge, turned out to be the greatest spiritual lesson that life would ever give me. Because you see, when we started the race, we all started from the same place. And we were all clamoring, there's so many people, and you're just kind of clamoring to find your way, and then you got really strategic. You're going to figure out where to be in this group, and all this. And then the real head trip starts, because you start looking around, and you start comparing yourself to everybody. Now, I got to tell you, one runner flew by me so fast. Now, I may have been slightly delusional, but this is what I thought I saw. I had never seen anyone in my life run this fast. And so, again, in the mind, right, I'm like, what in the hell am I doing here? Superman just ran by. But I never gave up. I picked myself up mentally, and I pushed forward. But this is what I noticed. As the race progressed and people started to find their place, I moved into my own rhythm. I moved into my own pace. And pretty soon, looking at others and the comparisons, all of that melted away. And what I realized was the race became the race of me. The race became me being the best of who I am. The one thing I do remember, though, were the people on the sidelines, people I didn't even know, shouting out to me, "Hey, you're looking great," which that means everything to me. I would stop. "You're looking great. Keep going. You can do it." And there were even people there that would offer you drinks as you were running. And really, they'd offer you like water and Gatorade, and all that was really nice. I really wanted a Bloody Mary. But anyway, they didn't have that there. And then there were the runners around me, and we would encourage each other. "You're looking good, you're looking strong, you can make it." And in the final lap, there was an incline. And it's so funny, you don't realize an incline of just like this much. My God, I thought it was Mount Everest. And I was really struggling. I was huffing and puffing. And this woman ran, kind of recognizing that I was starting to, struggle. She ran up next to me and she said, "Don't you dare stop." She said, "You can do this, and we're going to do this together." And she said, "I will promise you I won't stop. If you promise me you won't stop." Wow. I said, "Thank you. I promise you I won't stop." And I never gave up. And there I am. Finally, I see the final stretch. And out of nowhere, I get this surge of energy. And I cross over the finish line.
Yay!
And it was really lovely. Everyone cheered. Everyone cheered and clapped. And I was overwhelmed by the kindness that people were showing, not just to me, but to everyone. Because you see, I've never run a race before, but the protocol is you wait at the finish line for everyone to finish. And when the last person crossed over the line, there was a great roar and a great cheering. And so at that time, they did the whole award ceremony. And I want to show you what I got.
Participation.
No, wait. I didn't say I won this. I said I got this. Because I waited through that whole ceremony and I didn't get a trophy. So I wanted a trophy. So I went to the trophy store. I bought one. Finishing this race was a wonderful experience. And the accolades and the awards will go on forever, I'm sure. But what I learned about life was invaluable. And this is what I learned. You can do anything. Anything. If you will make your thinking the most important thing you do. And if you remember that if you don't see it here, you'll never see it here. Where is your mental equivalent for what you desire? And in life, just like this race, what I noticed is we're all in this together. This race of life. I don't believe that it is an accident that each and every human being on this planet right now is by design. Whether you're black or white or Asian or fabulously gay or Latino, we are all here by design. And what I find very interesting, and I thought about this at Sally's celebration of life yesterday, we all start at the same starting line, and we all end at the same finishing line. And what I realized was, no matter what it looks like, we are all here to run our own race. We've got to quit comparing ourselves to others. Looking around. Got to find our own rhythm, our own pace. That means we got to find our own why, our own passion. Helen Keller once said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. I remember, my mother is in her 80s. Just as she was approaching 80, the phone rings. I go, hey, Mom. She goes, hi, son. I go, what you doing? She goes, packing. I go, oh, where are you going? I'm going to go climb the mountains of Machu Picchu. I'm flying to Peru. I said, Mom, could you just take a cruise? And she said this, Danielle, when there is no adventure, the spirit dies. Find your adventure. The only person that can make your life an adventure is you. And when you are, when you find your adventure, give it your best. And look around and encourage others in their adventure. And don't quit. Don't quit. And be okay with finishing your race in your own time and in your own way. Be there at the finish line when others cross over and help them celebrate their adventure. And take time to savor the moments of your life. And when you achieve something great, celebrate, even if you have to buy your own damn trophy. I'll give you the phone number. The last message, as I was preparing for this, I always say, God, anything you want to say? And the God of my being said this, tell everyone to go into the world. Their adventure is waiting for them. So, go find your adventure. I'll be cheering for you at the finish line. And as our beloved Reverend Cynthia used to say, I can hardly wait to see how this all turns out. Have a wonderful week. So let us all take one deep collective breath together. And what I love about doing that is this. We all breathe the same air. And it's all the same air. Because there's just one thing happening here. It is God. There is only one power, one infinite intelligence. There is only one life. And it is God's life now. And it is infinite power and intelligence, light and love, and endless abundance. And what I know is that this life, which is God's life, is also my life. As it is the life of each person here. And what that means is that each person here is God's infinite power, God's infinite intelligence, love, and endless abundance. And so I just celebrate knowing these truths. I give thanks for this teaching. I give thanks for this center. And I give thanks knowing that I can change any condition in my life with the power of my thought. And so I give thanks knowing that each and every person arrives to their next destination safely. And I declare right here and right now and give thanks knowing that each person has the most amazing week of their life to date. And so I simply say, thank you, God. Thank you for these infinite and endless blessings. And together we say,